Please repeat after me. Ha, ha, re, Hari Om, Hari Om. I can't hear you. Hari Om. Please repeat after me. This is a back and forth thing. Let's do it together now. Hari Om. Hari Hari Om. Hari Hari Om. We're starting to sing a song now. Hari Om, Hari Om, Hari Hari Om. 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 Hari Om means Hari, or God, is Om. And Hari is a name of God, but as you can hear, it's just Ha and Ri, or A-I. These are primary vowel sounds. God is Om. Hari Om, Hari Om, Hari Hari Om, Hari Hari Om, Hari Om, Hari Om, Hari Hari Om, Hari Om, Hari Om, Hari Hari Om, Hari Hari Om, Hari Hari Om. Take a moment to allow the vibration to penetrate out in all directions. Happiness, peace, contentment. May everyone be happy. Okay. Well, I'm very grateful for the chance to talk here today. I haven't really been able to talk here in about 9 years. And it reminds me of a story. There's this lady, she's having breakfast one morning, and she hears a knock on her door. And she gets up and looks around. It's morning, there's nobody out there. And she's just about to close the door, and she looks down, and there's this little snail down there. And she says, oh, poor little thing. She picks it up and tosses it off in the bushes, closes the door, and goes back to reading the newspaper and having her tea. And about 9 or 10 years later passes. And she's sitting there reading the paper again, the same paper. The news changes a little bit, but it's basically the same thing. It's a nice morning. And again, she hears the knocking at the door. So she goes to see who's there. Who's there at this time of morning? There's nobody there. She looks down. There's this little snail again. And he looks up at her and he says, hey, what was that all about? So I've had some time to think things over. And I'm going to say what Kriyananda said, really. It's all about, what it's all about, to answer the question of the snail, is it's all about giving away what you want. Mantra is about giving out to the universe what you want. And in that giving away, we get. Maybe not instantly and maybe not in the abundance that we want, but we do get. And we open up the circulation with the universe that now things can hopefully start coming to us. Shelley once said that God really just wants to give it all away. He's just sitting up there wanting to give you everything, but we won't take it because we have blockages, we have personality problems, we feel bad about ourselves, we don't feel we deserve it. And techniques that allow you to start giving start to allow you to start receiving, because there is an ocean of wealth, an ocean of bliss. We're living in this universe on some little planet that's spinning around some sun in this vast ocean of everything. It's all provided for us. But for whatever reason, we don't feel we deserve it. We block it. We have karmic pieces of karma, as we would say. And so mantra technique, really, in the highest sense, is to get something or to think a new thought, as Kriyananda said. And it's kind of a funny way of going about doing it. And the highest thing that we can give and receive is our spiritual blessing. As Kriyananda said, you may start out wanting wealth, love, creativity, greater happiness in your outer life, but ultimately, mantra, the practice of mantra, mantra chanting, mantra repetition is about giving away your blessings so that you can be blessed in greater abundance. Another way to say it is, I don't feel like I got any blessings that I can give. Who am I? I mean, I want blessings. But we start where we are. And we start the path of mantra repetition or meditation, prayer, visualization. All these things basically go together wherever we're at. We're not experts at it. None of us are. In the Chandogya Upanishad, one of the well-known Upanishads, they say, the essence of all beings is earth. The essence of earth is water. The essence of water is plants. The essence of plants is the human being. The essence of the human being is speech. And the essence of speech is the Veda, or the word, or mantra, or pure thought, pure thinking. And this is the old scientific way. It's not maybe exactly scientific. Perhaps we can't prove it with instrumentation. It's poetic, but there's quite a bit of truth in this. What we are above animals is really our ability to think and hold on to pure thought. And as Kriyananda was talking about earlier, to manifest things through our thought force, through our pure thought force. When there's chaotic thought force in your mind, you tend to attract chaotic or sloppy experiences. But as we learn how to focus our mind or create more coherent thinking, then our lives tend to become more coherent. And mantra is a technique, almost like a practice, where you learn how to think coherently. Well, I'll think coherently about 5 minutes today, and then I'll go back to my normal scattered way of thinking, because I can't hold my mind together anymore. It wants to go back to this noisy or busy state. And that's fine. It's a practice in a way. There are many ways to look at mantra practice, mantra technique. But the title of this program is Mantra and the Mind, Integration Through Sound. And what are we integrating? I don't know. I'm all here. I'm all here. What's the point? It's already here. We want to integrate, we want to get rid of certain things that we don't like about ourselves, and we want to acquire some things that we don't have, we see other people have, or we know we should have about ourselves. How come I don't have that? How come those guys have it so easy, and I have such a hard time doing that particular thing? So there's an element of self-knowledge. As Kriyananda says, you have to know really what to ask for. And then as time goes on, you need to keep changing that as you get things or as you get greater insights. So integration in this sense, the way I perceive it, means that using mantra, using visualization, using the power of the mind, we are going to release subconscious forces within us that we know that are there, or we hope that they're there. Yeah, I could do that. I should have that. And we are also trying to attract to ourselves from the universe things that are out there in greater abundance, forces that are out there in greater abundance, experiences, as Kriyananda would say, like love, wealth, fulfillment, creativity, happiness, fun. And we can also use mantra to symbolically and psychologically dissolve aspects of our nature that we've outgrown. I'd like to not do that anymore. I keep doing it. Mantra is a way of thinking a new thought or dissolving old thoughts. The goal of life is to be happy. So ultimately, we would like to send out to the universe happiness with the idea that we could get a little happiness back. You know, this morning I was doing my morning meditation, and I had this vision of, I have this friend who plays the slot machines occasionally. He always thinks, you know, today's going to be my day. And he told me a story. He went there and he saw 3 or 4 other people hit the jackpot. And he said, this is a lucky spot. This is my, you know, my lucky day. It didn't happen for him. So I'm not endorsing gambling. But I had this thought about, you know, the regular slot machine. You put in a quarter. Is it a quarter? I haven't played one in a long time. 50 cents, I don't know what you put in. Tokens? I don't know. No one's going to tell me, and nobody wants to raise their hand and admit it. But the normal slot machine, you put in, say, 25 cents, and the 3 symbols pop up, bing, 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 and there's nothing happens. You throw, I'll get it next time. You throw in the 25 cents, and then occasionally you get this big jackpot, which hopefully is more than you personally invested. But with mantra repetition, there's this other thing that happens. You put in 25 cents, and then out the bottom comes your quarter plus a penny, symbolically. The universe is reciprocating, saying, I hear your wish, I hear your good thoughts, I hear your love, your happiness, or your desire for that. Here's a penny. Don't stop. We're here. We know you're here. We see you down there. You say, a penny? And as Kriyananda said, you know, with mantra repetition, it takes a while to gather this mantra siddhi, or the power of mantra meditation. It takes more than an afternoon of practice. These pennies have to start accumulating. Well, the wonderful thing is that occasionally you'll be doing your japa, your mantra repetition, om, 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 and all of a sudden you will hit the jackpot too. You will get more out of it than you put in. You'll get all your quarters back plus the pennies. Every day you get the penny, like a lollipop, you know, just something to keep you going. But then occasionally you will hit the jackpot. You will have an awakening. Your heart will open, or you will feel the presence of God, or you'll have an insight, or you say, whoa. And then you'll try to make that happen again. And yeah, you know, the wheels spin, and you don't, the flowers and the pineapples and the other symbols come up, but it's not the big jackpot. You keep playing this. So we should not be in this mantra game thinking that we're going to hit the jackpot immediately, or at all, really. We're in it for the pennies and the occasional happiness that we get from the jackpots. I'm being realistic. Some teachers will say, oh, you were You will do this technique in very afternoon itself. You will have highest meditation. We are giving today best price. But practically, we want a little bit of bliss each day, a little bit of happiness, and we want to see our life improving. And with mantra meditation, you're feeding the universe. You're sending out some kind of good vibes. You're not sure where they're going to come back. You're not sure how they're going to come back into your life. But they do if you are alert. We'll talk about that a little bit later, depending on the mantra that you're doing or the practice that you're observing. You can be aware and see how the universe or how the Lord is reciprocating to encourage you beyond just the penny, because the penny sometimes isn't enough. So now let's do another mantra. This one is a Sanskrit mantra. Maybe I could ask you to pass out these the sheets that are here now. Please turn to number 5. This is a mantra from the Vedas, the ancient Sanskrit text. Many of the mantras in the Vedas are prayers or supplications to the universe for good stuff to happen. May there be many cattle, horses, wealth. May your progeny live 100 years. And it sounds kind of archaic, but it's really where most of us are at. We just have to translate the intention. May we all be healthy, wealthy, happy, content. May our children be happy. May they grow up in a wonderful place. There's something about Sanskrit. There's something about speaking in another language where you don't have to know quite what it means. These are just some mantras. They're not necessarily all the good ones. They're just some mantras. And we're talking about number 5, Lokaha. You let me know when everyone has a sheet. If they're not enough, you'll just have to use your ears. I'm sorry. You don't really need to see it. You can just close your eyes and we'll chant together. Kim, would you do me a favor? Would you stand up and show your instrument for a second? Maybe people would find this amazing. Kim builds string instruments from time to time. Can you all see this? That's a Vichitra Veena. It's a modern variation on an old Vedic instrument called a Veena. In Sanskrit, Veena means this lute, and Venu or Vinu means flute. This is a Veena. Oops. This mantra number 5 means, may the whole world, the whole loka or plane, experience happiness. May everyone be happy. So, in order for us to put the quarter in the machine, we have to have something to put in there that we get something back. And the easiest and most primary thing to send out, to mantra, to chant, is happiness. And you may not feel happy right now. Maybe tomorrow you feel happy. But we want to prime the pump. So this mantra goes, Lokaha. Let's chant this Om Lokaha after me. Okay, together. Om Lokaha Samastaha Samastaha Sukhino Sukhino Bhavantu Bhavantu Om Lokaha Om Lokaha Samastaha Samastaha Sukhino Bhavantu Sukhino Bhavantu. Just imagine waves of happiness and bliss, peace and contentment going on in all directions. Om Lokaha Om Lokaha Samastaha Samastaha Sukhino Sukhino bhavantu, bhavantu. Om lokaha, Om lokaha, samastaha, samastaha, sukhino bhavantu, sukhino bhavantu. I just want to point out, this is a mantra that has been chanted for many thousands of years. So the vibrations of this mantra exist. They're resonating in the etheric or astral worlds. By chanting this mantra, even if you don't relate to these Indians or this Vedic tradition, you're tapping into a reservoir of thoughts, good thoughts, positive thoughts that are ancient and positive. And as we align with all the beings that have chanted this, we sort of step into this attunement with them. Om lokaha, Om lokaha, samastaha, samastaha, sukhino bhavantu, sukhino bhavantu. Om lokaha, Om lokaha, samastaha, samastaha, sukhino bhavantu, sukhino bhavantu. Om lokaha, Om lokaha, samastaha, samastaha, sukhino bhavantu, sukhino bhavantu. Om lokaha, Om lokaha, samastaha, samastaha, sukhino bhavantu, sukhino bhavantu. Om lokaha, Om lokaha, samastaha, samastaha, sukhino bhavantu, sukhino bhavantu. Om lokaha, Om lokaha, samastaha, samastaha, sukhino bhavantu, sukhino bhavantu. And now let's chant Om Shanti Shanti Shanti, which means Om peace, peace, peace. Om Shanti Shanti. Okay, let's do it together slowly then. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Again, let's sit quietly for a moment. In the Holy Quran, Allah, the Merciful, may His blessings be upon us, has said, "If you remember me, I will remember you." I'd like to introduce a Sanskrit term called sadhana. It's kind of an interesting word. There's different variations on this word. Sadhana means practice. And if you do sadhana, they call you a sadhaka, one who does some practice. You aspire. You're working on it. I'm on the path. I'm a sadhaka. And if you do enough sadhana, I should spell it out. Sorry, it's sadhana, sadhana. If you do this exertion, or your practice, or your sadhana, eventually you start to get something called siddhis, or perfections, or accomplishments, or attainments. Things like, I was waiting in line at the grocery store, and they had to change the ribbon when I got there, and I hate that, but it was okay. It's in the ancient text. You'll look for that. It'll see it there. And if you get these siddhis, you think, walking on water, levitation, healing the sick, casting out demons. Those are okay, but this thing about being online at the checkout counter is a lot more practical, and you're more likely to encounter it. So if you get these siddhis, these major and minor siddhis, eventually you become a siddha, or a perfected one. But there aren't too many of those around, so we just have to learn from one another. Sadhana makes you a siddha. Now I'd like to talk about the power of sound. Sound is omnidirectional. I like this or om. I don't know how it got into Greek, if it's a Greek word or not, or Latin. It means everything or all. Om, omnidirectional. Did I leave a little bell over there? Is there a little Japanese gong? Yes, would you be kind enough to hand it to me? Thanks. This is a gift from my wife. Lovely Japanese meditation bell. I just want to ring this. Sometimes if the sound is pure enough, a sine wave type of sound without a lot of noise on the signal, it can be hard to know where the sound is emanating from. And this has a mystical or a spiritual connotation. This helps us with our sadhana in a way to understand that sound being omnidirectional. It's not like vision or touch or smell. Well, smell is kind of less directional. Touch is quite directional. Sound by its nature, by listening to sound or contemplating sound, helps us to attune to that level of our mind or that part of our consciousness which is also omnidirectional or omnipresent or omniscient. All these ohms sort of correspond with one another. So listen to this bell for a moment. You may not relate to chanting in Sanskrit or in Tibetan or in Hebrew or Latin. You may find that you're attracted more to simple things like bells, chimes. That's good. It's basically the same thing. We're using the power of sound to smooth out our mental waveforms, the noise on the line. Sound allows us to externalize things that are deep within our being, that are subconscious or superconscious. I'd also like to talk about rhythm, or tempo, as we say in Italian, tempo, tempo. When you study music, you learn there are these different tempos, presto, prestissimo, largo, which means long and slow. These have effects on the mind. When you're doing your mantra practice, I'm jumping ahead a little bit, you need to be observant of your state. Am I lethargic today? The bodhisattva of compassion. That's a Zen chanting style. depending on where your mind is, you will need a different speed of rhythm in order to bring you back to the center. Some days, you feel like a Strauss waltz, da, 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 right? And that brings you into your heart chakra, especially the 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. That tends to bring the pranas into the heart chakra. Waltzes are generally different from martial music, military band music, partly because of the tempo or the rhythm. So when you are, as Kriyananda suggested, exploring mantras or checking out different mantras, also check out repeating mantras at different speeds. Sometimes, some days you will not be able to meditate at a very slow pace because it may put you to sleep. You may need to chant quickly. Other times you may find that that's too disturbing. So different rhythmic speeds invoke different states. You remember the old days back in the 60s and 70s, biofeedback? Haven't seen anyone doing a lot of biofeedback. Maybe they still do it, I don't know. They probably still do. But it's not getting the media attention that it once did. They described alpha state, beta state, delta state, theta state. And I joke around about the Garden State, which is New Jersey. There is a scientific aspect or a physiological aspect of mantra meditation. And so some have suggested, you know, you could get the same basic benefit in terms of your cardiovascular system, lowering your blood pressure and all of that sort of stuff, if you just listen to a dripping tap. Bloop, bloop, bloop. Or if you just listen to a clock ticking once a second, 60 beats. And actually 1 second, 1 beat a second, is pretty good. It is pretty restful. And again, I joke around, you know, as I was practicing my speech, I kept confusing the dripping tap and the ticking clocks, and I kept thinking of Salvador Dali with his dripping clocks. Have you ever seen his clocks that are sort of dripping, you know? In Sanskrit, they have a word for this. It's called rita, from which we get our word rhythm. And rita, from which we also get our word ritual, has to do with being in harmony with the cycles of nature or the cycles of creation. Being in phase with the cycles that are already there. There's another word which we use when we describe the nature of the mind. It's called entrainment. The superior cycle will tend to overtake all the inferior cycles, and eventually everyone is in step. Everyone's mind, everyone's biological cycles, eventually when they become entrained, all start to go in the same pattern. Yes, I will buy that product. Yes, yes, yes. Chanting, group meditation, if we're all chanting the same thing, our mind waves, our brain waves become highly entrained. The waves become highly coherent and powerful. Hence, when 2 or more of you gather in my name, there I am in the midst of you. That was a little more poetic than to say, well, your brain waves tend to get entrained as you meditate on the same pattern. But all of these factors are important. In the study of mantra, one thing we notice, as Kriyananda said, is that the first sound is ah, or ah. And in the Sanskrit alphabet, they make a big distinction between the vowels and the consonants. In my experience over the few years I've been practicing, the vowels are holding most of the color or the energy, what they call varna in Sanskrit. The nectar or the essence of the mantra is usually in the vowel sounds. It's not in the consonants. It's usually when we chant that we enjoy the singing, when we say lokaha, the open-ended sounds. Allow the brain to vibrate if you're considering it physiologically. Allow the breath to flow out in a continuous way. Again, this smooths the waves of the mind. And we would say that some languages are more suited for mantric practice than others. Some are more mantric in nature. For example, the Hawaiian language, some of us have had the privilege of spending some time with Kriyananda in Hawaii, is very vowel-oriented, highly vowel-oriented. And so as a mystic, we would say it's very astral or Venusian. There's not a lot of earth or in Hawaiian. I can give you an example of that. There's a saying that is very lovely that is the the state saying of Hawaii or Hawaii. And it was said by King Kamehameha in 1843. I'm sure you are all aware of that. He said that the life of the land is perpetuated in righteousness. But that's not really what he said. What he really said was, Uamao ke eo ka aina ikapono, which is quite different. The life of the land is perpetuated in righteousness. See the difference? Next time I incarnate, I want to incarnate in Hawaii about 500 years ago. So some languages are more mantric than others. And yet, in the Sanskrit or Indian tradition, we would say that's not true. All syllables are, everything is mantra, everything is vibrating. So, as Kriyananda, I think, said last night, in the Indian texts or in the Hindu tradition, you can find a book or a group that'll support just about any philosophy. They've developed them all to an enormous extent. So there's a text, an ancient text called the Artha Shastra, which means the text on the subject of wealth, how to become wealthy. And it's funny, I haven't read it cover to cover, but apparently they say a lot of things 1,000 or 2,000 years ago that sounds a lot like today. It's kind of a business person's primer. And one of the things that they say in there is it's all basically big fish eating little fish. I guess that's an old analogy. In the Artha Shastra, there is a saying that I'm aware of, which says, Maksharam nasti moolam mana ushadam ayogya purusho nasti yojagasthatradhulavaha, which means there is no letter that is not a mantra. There is no root or herb that is not a medicine. There is no human being who is not useful. Only their coordinator is a rare commodity. Again, it's a lot prettier in the Sanskrit, I think. Only their coordinator is a rare commodity. So what we would say is that every syllable, every sound has mantric potency or is able to vibrate in your head and put you into a meditative state. Or as Kriyananda would say, it's something upon which you could meditate and sublimate it or transform it into a higher force, an astral force. Every physical sound has an astral counterpart. Let's do an exercise now. Let's meditate on these vowel sounds. Since we mentioned, now's the time to turn off the tape? Okay, let's do a special exercise then. Let us explore these 5 vowel sounds. A, E, A, E, A, O, U. I'm going to add another one later. Make it 6. Because in the yoga tradition, we go past the 5 system and we do this number 6 thing, which is very special. Let us chant together. Kim, maybe we can make a nice background for that. And I would just like you to be aware of certain things. I do want to tell you one thing, that I'm ordering these in a certain order, and I'd like you to know if you can figure out what that order is. The first oh boy, there we go. The first syllable is ah. So let us chant together, and just feel what's going on in your body or your consciousness. Isn't that wonderful? And we'll add one more. And now, just for fun, let's try this. Aye-om. 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 So what was the trick? What were we doing? Tuning in. Ah is made in the back of your throat, and then comes I, and then E comes up in the back of the roof of your mouth, and then A is sort of in the middle, and then U is a little bit closer towards the front. I-E-A-O, U, sorry, I missed one. I-E-A-O is in the middle, and then U is all the way out at your lips, and then is with the mouth closed. So we're going from the back of the head or from the back of the palate to the front. This is a technique. You can go backwards and forwards, if you know what I mean. It's a balancing technique and comes from basically the vowels of the Sanskrit or even the English alphabet. Although in Sanskrit they have some other vowels there, I, u, but I'm leaving that out for now. This how many people, I'm just curious, how many people, which one did you like the best? How many people like ah? Okay. E. Okay. A. O. Did I miss one? Ooh. Aha. Everybody likes Well, you're all wrong. No, actually, yeah, they're all fine. Has a special name. Is a pranayama called Brahmari pranayama. And in Sanskrit, the word Brahmari means bumblebee. But it also has this connection to the word for Brahma or Brahman, the creator, the creative principle, God consciousness. So they give this special name to the bumblebee because it goes And so there's a technique called Brahmari pranayama where you just go like that. Very powerful balancing technique. Brings your awareness to the top of the head, to the higher chakras and so on. And I think on that note, we will break. Nandalaya